While two things are for certain, one is I need a haircut. And two, it's been a while since we've done one of these. This is the first video that I'm doing since, I believe, April. And it's now July 18th. And this is the 25th edition of the Unlimited podcast here on the Unlimited YouTube channel. And we're here to talk some baseball. We are live here at the All-Star break. And I'm kind of going through withdrawal since there's not really anything to watch now. But gives us a bit of time to reflect, look back, talk about some important things going on in baseball, both on the field and off the field. And to do that with me is, as always, Mr. Tyler Harper. Tyler, how you doing today?
Greetings from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Last time I was on this shindig, I was at my house in West Effort, New Jersey, but since then, I got a job. So, I mean, at least for the season, but chilling here in lovely, kind of weird, but middle of nowhere, but nice nevertheless, Allentown, PA, working for the Iron Pigs. So I'll try not to gush so much. I mean, I'm a Phillies fan anyway.
Right.
But yeah, it's funny you mentioned how withdrawal because there's pretty much nothing to watch. What, you don't want to watch the ESPYs?
No, I don't. Probably, I really don't care that much about award shows to begin with.
Well, the ESPYs are stupid anyway, so
I care about the actual awards, like the MVPs and the Cy Youngs, and we're gonna get to that.
Yeah, I was listening to a hockey podcast earlier today, which I know is kind of weird because it's the off season. But anyway, and it was funny. They were talking about how the ESPYs are kind of dumb because like all these sports like have all their own like awards for like season and like playoffs and stuff anyway, and this is just like something else. I don't know. It's basically just ESPN giving the double bird to the sporting world and being like, "Yeah, we own sports." I don't know. But hey, man, the first half of baseball, obviously I've been working a lot, so I haven't been watching everything as much as I'd like to be. But
Same here.
But it's been quite the interesting year, like you said, both on and off. I mean, especially with a certain big trade piece getting dealt today. So
yeah, and this might be the only big trade piece that we see. I mean, maybe we'll see one here or there, but big news coming out of Baltimore and Los Angeles as shortstop Manny Machado is officially an LA Dodger. He will be their starting shortstop, obviously, until the return of Corey Seager, and maybe even beyond that. Who knows? But the Dodgers gave up a boatload of prospects for him. Your general thoughts on this?
I'm relieved it wasn't the Philadelphia Phillies. This whole process was kind of a whirlwind, was it not?
Yeah.
I mean, we knew Machado was going to get dealt, and let's start there because I just mentioned hockey a little bit ago. I'm glad the Orioles decided to make this move instead of being like the New York Islanders with John Tavares in hockey. The Islanders, they thought they were maybe going to get on a run and be contenders, so they held on to John Tavares despite the fact that it was the last year of his deal. They could have possibly moved in to get some pieces to help reload the organization. Instead, they held on, hoping and praying that he would resign. He ends up going back to his home in Ontario to sign with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the New York Islanders fall flat on their face, and they're probably going to be bad for a long time.
Yeah.
While the Orioles, it's kind of long-winded, but
no problem.
While the Orioles might be bad for a little bit, I mean, obviously, their lineup, while it isn't terrible, hasn't been great, and they've obviously been treading water, if not starting to sink a little bit. They decided to be proactive, send him to a team in Los Angeles that they know it's going to be a rental, and they're able to snag some top prospects in the meantime to help kind of recharge the batteries on their organization for a little bit. So as heartbreaking as I'm sure it's going to be for Orioles fans for there not to be a real marquee star at Camden Yards for a while, I think this move will pay off in the long run because you could have held on and been stubborn and let him go for nothing.
This is true. Kind of reminds me of the Stanton trade and all the outrage by Marlins fans, and not even just the Stanton trade, but pretty much every trade that they did. Stanton and Yelich and Ozuna and all those guys.
And how they didn't really get anything.
Yeah, well, for Stanton, they didn't really get much. For Yelich and Ozuna, you got some guys. And
True.
for me, it was a good start for them. And same thing with the Orioles here. I don't really think that they got any huge names from the Dodgers, but they still managed to get an outfielder. They got 2 infielders and they got 2 pitchers.
Yeah.
It's a start somewhere. The Orioles are getting older as a team overall. Machado is gone. Adam Jones might not be far behind. They have some big contracts coming off the books. It's time. It's been time for a few years. I'm glad that they pulled the trigger now. About time.
Oh, yeah. It was the same thing like a couple years ago when we talked about how the White Sox were winners of the offseason for unloading Chris Sale.
Yep.
Good call by them to be like, oh, hey, we're not going anywhere fast. Let's sell our best pitcher, get prospects, and obviously we're still kind of waiting on the White Sox to join the party a little bit.
I was going to say, looking back at it, the trade doesn't look that great right now for the White Sox.
True, but good news is the AL Central kind of looks like it's a big pile of meh. So
pretty much. I mean, other than the Cleveland Indians, there's really not much to talk about other than how historically bad the Kansas City Royals are.
Yeah.
Remember 3 years ago when they were beating my New York Mets in the World Series?
I do, actually. You were very on edge.
You know what's sad? They actually have more losses than the Mets do.
Wow, I didn't know that.
When the Mets went on their run of going 2-20 or whatever their record was at that time, it was probably way more than that.
Uh-huh.
They said that there was one team with a worse record in that time span, and I'm like, impossible. And then I looked at the Kansas City Royals, and it was them. I was like,
that's really funny that the 2 teams in that World Series just wow.
Since that 2015 World Series, the Royals have not been back in the playoffs. But the
Mets were in a wild card game.
The Mets were in a wild card game, and then ran into.
And there's a banner at Citi Field for it.
I still can't believe only the New York Mets would put up a banner.
That was the highlight of when me, you, and Alec went to that game at Citi Field on Labor Day. Seeing that banner.
Making it to the wild card game apparently gets you
a banner
at Citi Field.
Which, by the way, Citi Field is a nice park. I'll give credit where credit's due.
And I do enjoy Citizens Bank Park. I really like it.
Cool.
So yeah, see, Mets fan, Phillies fan, we can get along.
But yeah, so but going back, speaking of the Phillies, going back to the whole deal with the Machado trade, there was a lot of kind of anxiety with Phillies Twitter of oh, we should go after Machado. Oh no, we shouldn't if he's going to be a rental, because at All-Star Media Day a couple days ago, he came out and said he wants to test free agency, which, I mean, duh. Considering he's number 2 under Bryce Harper and the guy who's probably going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. So
probably in the 300 to 400 range.
So why wouldn't you test free agency? So I'm glad that the Phillies front office, despite the fact that they apparently were aggressive in trying to get Machado, I'm glad they didn't get him, because the last thing I want to do is give up prospects like Sixto Sanchez, who people think can be one of the next great aces in the Phillies organization. He's the top pitching prospect, and whoever else might be on that laundry list of prospects that the Orioles would want. You know what I mean? I get it. The Phillies are performing better than expected, which we'll get to in a little bit. So yeah, why not go all in? But what's funny is a lot of people in Phillies Twitter have also been pointing out too, the Phillies record right now is kind of similar to where the 2008 World Series Phillies are. I just spoiled what my story was going to be. But I mean, all that Phillies team in 2008 did at the trade deadline was add Joe Blanton for starting depth. And what happened? Oh yeah, they got rings on their fingers.
Joe
So
Blanton was the almighty savior.
hit a home run in Game 4, man.
This is true.
So
yeah, it's funny that I want to test free agency. Okay, in other news, water is wet.
right, like of course you want to test free agency. Like I was telling anybody who would listen, I would only want to trade for Manny Machado if I knew that day he was signing an extension.
Fair enough.
If not, I don't want to unload my farm system for a rental. I want to make sure I'm good for the long haul. When back like around the 07-08 time frame when the Phillies did go on that big run and went winning all those division titles, they did it with a lot of homegrown talent with Cole Hamels, Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard. Those main guys, yeah, they added pieces before the season. They traded for Brad Lidge. Like I said, they added Joe Blanton. And in those later years, they would make trades too for guys like Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay. But they were able to start building from within. You got to start building from within and really let your guys own the moment before you can be like, okay, let's start adding these pieces and let's add these guys from the outside, big or small, to be the finishing touches.
Right, absolutely. That's always been the right way to rebuild. And, it's someone, I don't remember, it was one of the Mets commentators, I believe, said, you can either be a contender or you're a rebuilder. And if you're stuck in the middle, it's not really the best place to be. I do like it when teams rebuild from the ground up. Not really a big fan of building through free agency. So the Phillies did it right. The Orioles are doing it right, are going to do it right, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see what happens from this. But good move by the Dodgers. And you know what? They could go after him in the offseason and sign him to a long-term extension.
Yeah, but then what do you do? Because, I mean, you're going to have
imagine you'd have to move someone to second. And chances are it'd be Turner. Maybe move Corey Seager.
Yeah, but he hasn't played there in how long? Because he's been stay-at-home third baseman for a while.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the Mariners did get D. Gordon and put him in center.
Yeah, but then Robbie Cano got caught with steroids, and D. Gordon goes to second. And he's like, "Oh, hey, cool."
We don't talk about that.
Hey, they're still doing well, man.
They're still doing well. We will get to them in a few because they're going to pop up in one of my awards.
Okay.
But speaking of awards, let's get to them.
Yay!
You said, obviously, like we were talking off screen, you brought up the list of awards we did last year.
Yes.
Figures, why not? Let's just do the same awards as last year.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly. Worked once, it'll work again. So I guess we'll start from the beginning and go with the rookies, the American League, National League Rookies of the Year. And gotta be honest, for the American League, this was pretty easy for me. I don't know if it was easy for you.
Yeah, I mean, kind of looking through, it seemed pretty simple. Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'm just gonna look to see if there are more names that I might be missing.
When I looked, I only saw two, and the one's been heard a good amount. So,
right.
For me, it's Gleyber Torres. I mean, I know that's again it's kind of the easy award, but for him, it's funny. Like you mentioned the Stanton trade earlier, and people were wondering. I remember wondering when the rumors were that the Yankees were going to trade for Stanton. I was wondering, is Gleyber Torres going to be in that deal? Because you always heard when the Yankees talked about, or when on MLB Network, when they would talk about Gleyber Torres, pulling up his stats on Baseball Reference real quick too. When they would always talk about Gleyber Torres, it would always be, oh, he could be a trade chip along with Clint Frazier or Justice Shetfield or guys like that.
And Clint Frazier might very well, it could possibly be still.
Oh, yeah. But the fact that Gleyber Torres has come up and has really shined at second base for the Yankees, pushing Ronald Torreyes back to AAA. So for him to come in right now with a 294 batting averaged 15 homers, 42 RBI, 2.1 wins of replacement. I mean, we've talked before a couple times about how it's kind of crazy that the Yankees are building from within. You're used to them just going and throwing money at any free agent and pretty much getting their way, but
now they're almost following an Astros model where, you know,
in a sense,
not fully there, but you get the guys like the Glabers and the Anduhars and the Judges and this guy and that guy, and then throw Gary Sanchez, same thing, and then you throw in veteran players like we saw Brian McCann a couple years ago and Beltran a couple years ago. You know,
that guy named Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, and then you go out and get the big bat, Giancarlo Stanton,
in that Little League stadium,
and he's actually not producing as much as I thought he would. I know his average is down, home run 26, I think he has, but that's a story for another time. So, yeah I completely agree. Gleyber Torres. I mean, I'm looking at the other American League rookies. I mean, you could also make an argument for his teammate, Miguel Andujar. But Gleyber Torres wins it for me. You know, they've labeled him the next Derek Jeter.
Yikes.
Definitely not there yet. But he's definitely shown signs of it. So, you know, good on him. Hopefully he comes back soon, comes back healthy, and helps them out. National League Rookie of the Year? Again, I think it's no contest.
Yeah, so the Nationals, if Bryce Harper decides to leave this offseason, might not have to be terribly worried. I'm going with Juan Soto. Maybe this is based on the face you're giving me right now. Maybe this isn't the person you had, but
no, it is.
Oh, okay, good. You were just making a face. I'm like, I think we're talking about the same guy.
Yeah, we are. I thought for whatever reason, I thought I wrote a different name down, but I have Soto.
Yeah, I mean, the guy like came up like, yeah, like he's been like I think has he missed time? I forget if he has or not, but
well, he was called up late. I don't think he missed time though.
But I mean, for him to come up, 301 batting average, 9 homers, 28 RBI. When he first came up, I mean, he was setting the world on fire. It seemed like every other night he was going yard, providing clutch hits, going 3 for 4 with like 3 RBI.
Absolutely. He's getting on base constantly. He's got an on base percentage over 400. You know, I was actually working one of the Yankees Nationals games, and I actually got out of my shift in time for him to hit a 440-foot home run.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, this guy's 19, and he's going to be 19 the whole season.
Yeah.
He's not turning 20 until the offseason.
Oh, yeah.
If that guy named Bryce Harper is leaving in free agency, which he most likely will, chances are you have yourself the new Bryce Harper if you're the Nationals.
Yeah, and it's funny. And it's funny, too, because they also have one of the highly touted prospects in baseball in Victor Robles, who's been hurt a lot in AAA. But, I mean, if he comes up and he produces like Juan Soto's been producing and Juan Soto continues on that path, maybe the Nationals won't be so broken if Bryce Harper leaves. Maybe it'll be a situation similar to St. Louis when Albert Pujols left. Maybe you can get those younger guys to fill in that gap. And, I mean, maybe you won't be the powerhouse that you've been for the past few years, but you might not be as worse off as people think.
I completely agree. I mean, if you have a combination of Soto and Robles in the corner outfielders, or maybe have one play center and then go out and get another veteran name for the outfield, you know, might not be the worst thing in the world. Because, you know, you have to keep in mind also, not only are you losing Harper in the offseason, you're probably losing Murphy as well. He is a free agent.
I mean, the way he's been playing this year, I don't know how bad that'll be, but
he's been getting better.
Yeah.
He's still battling.
I'm a fan of the owner, so
still battling his injuries, though, and yes, I know. You know, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Murphy's back on the Mets. I really wouldn't. Because we like going after those, you know, older injured players.
Hi, Jay Bruce.
Cespedes rehabbed in a GCL game today, and he played first base.
Did he really?
Yes, he played first base.
That's
Because
awesome.
he's a fragile snowflake, and, if he gets hurt, then,
I mean, hey, man, if it keeps him healthy in the lineup.
That'll never happen. He's going to come back, and he's going to pull his other quad, hopefully tear it.
Shout out to Kevin Nash. But
hopefully he tears one and then gets up and tears another one.
Shout out to Vince McMahon. But at least that's his only problem, like
he could be a lot worse.
Yeah, because when he is healthy, dude produces. Trust me, I'm a Phillies fan. I've been to games at Citizens Bank Park where Yoenis Cespedes goes 3 for 4 with 2 home runs and 5 RBI.
Were you at that 8-homer game like 3 years ago?
Yes, I was. Bet your ass.
Cespedes, Wright, Murphy, Darno hit 1, Flores hit 2. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. Kadire hit 1.
Yeah.
And Lagares hit 1.
Yeah, man.
I think I got all 8.
It was Clay Buchholz's one and only start at Citizens Bank Park, and he got hurt.
Poor guy. Guy can never catch a break.
I know he had a stretch where he was doing decently this year.
Yeah, for the Diamondbacks, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it actually was solid for a little bit. I was surprised to see him still alive. But good for him. I guess since we're on the subject of pitchers, let's go to the relievers of the year. Going to an early call to the bullpen here.
Okay.
And there's a theme to my winners, but maybe you have different ones.
Well, where are you going, NL or AL?
Let's go NL.
Okay, do you want me to start?
Sure, if you want.
I'm going with All Reliable, and that's Kenley Jansen. I know he hasn't been super, super lights out, Kenley Jansen, but I mean, still, when you look at 27 saves and 30 opportunities, 2.33 ERA, if he's going to continue to be all reliable for the Dodgers, I'm all for it. And I know like Wade Davis is up there doing well in Colorado, but I mean, seeing that stat line makes me happy that I still have Kenley Jansen in fantasy, that I was able to get him back after last year. So I'm happy that Kenley Jansen's doing well, because that Dodgers team wants to get back to the World Series, and you gotta have a solid back end of your bullpen. So, all reliable Kenley Jansen it is.
Yeah, this will be the first one we differ.
Okay.
I went with, he's currently on the DL, but I went with Nationals closer Sean Doolittle.
Not a bad choice.
Honestly, looking at his stats, I really did not know he was doing that well. Opposing average is a 134. His whip is a .54. His ERA is a 1.45. He's 22 for 23 in saves. In almost 38 innings, he's only allowed 6 runs. He's only walked 3 batters, and he struck out 49. Considering that the problems for the Nationals over the last couple of years have involved their bullpen, to get this kind of production out of one of their relievers, really good on them.
Oh, God, I remember the Nationals' never-ending quests to find a closer.
It was like every 5 seconds they had a new closer. And one of them is my pick for the American League reliever of the year. So I guess we'll just go to that. Blake Trinan from the Oakland A's.
The swinging A's.
The swinging A's. I looked at his stats as well. He has a sub-1 ERA, a sub-1 whip. He's opposing average 174. 48 innings pitched. He's only allowed 5 earned runs. He's only allowed 1 home run. He struck out 61, like I said, in 48 innings. He's blown 3 saves, 24 for 27. He doesn't have as many saves as Edwin Diaz, who leads the majors with 36, I believe. But I looked at his other numbers too. It's worthy of a top spot in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick. I did not go with Edwin Diaz. I went with Craig Kimbrell. Let me get my Craig Kimbrell pose ready.
You and all the Phillies fans at Citizens Bank.
Dude, that was awesome, and you can't even deny it.
No, it was. It was hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, like you had a great pick there with Trinan, but again, I'm going kind of reliable. I mean, Craig Kimbrell, sub 2 ERA, 30 saves out of 32 opportunities, 62 strikeouts, opponents hitting 144 or off him. I mean, we know what Craig Kimbrell is. He's just a straight fireballer. Can throw in those that nasty slider and changeup, I believe, are his two other pitches that he could throw those at you in a moment's notice. And just when you're thinking you're going to crank a fastball out of the yard, you're early and you're looking stupid on a slider away. So, I mean, the Red Sox are one of the best teams in baseball, if not the best team in baseball right now. They're definitely up there. And a good reason why is when you get to the ninth inning, if they've got a lead, it's a good chance that Craig Kimbrell's going to close it out.
And look absolutely filthy, nasty, and dominant while doing so.
I mean,
most intimidating.
They won. You talk about winning trades when they got him from the Padres. Talk about winning a trade, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know where to go now. Want to do managers?
Manager or unsung hero?
Let's do unsung. Let's do unsung hero.
Okay.
You know, every year we talk about our obvious MVPs, guys like Trout and Cy Youngs like Kershaw, and then there's always those guys, those one or two or three players that really slide under the radar and still produce massively, and really nobody talks about them.
Yes.
And every year for me, it seems like there's always one guy, no matter what team he's on, that's always in this position. And for my National League unsung hero, I went with my man Christian Yelich.
Interesting pick.
Thankfully, this year he got the All-Star nod to back up his great play, but overall consistency, he's once again hitting 290. He's a solid fielder. Hits for, has some pop. Hits for average. Gets on base. He's a leader in that outfield. I know they have Lorenzo Cain as well. They have guys like Ryan Braun. I know he's hurt, but I think he's a leader in that outfield, and doesn't really get enough credit for that.
Yeah, I mean the Brewers, like you and I were talking before we came on about how picking our top team for the NL is kind of hard because all those top teams are kind of in similar spots, and the Brewers are right there. Like they have a lineup that is very good. They have Aguilar has been playing well. Christian Yelich, like you mentioned, Lorenzo Cain, again, a good leader. Maybe they need a pitcher at the trade deadline. Maybe they could be in the running for a J Happ or something like that, depending.
Or they could, they do have an outfielder in the minors that is capable of hitting 30 home runs a year, Domingo Santana. And you kind of have a logjam of outfielders.
Yeah, but I don't know where, is there really a big prize for starting pitching besides J Happ?
Cole Hamels?
Yeah, maybe.
I think he'd be an
Oh yeah, I don't know, I agree, but even though he's still a good pitcher, he's not what he once was.
No, I completely agree with that.
So, but yeah, it could get you a nice piece, definitely. So, yeah, we'll see. But no, that's not a bad pick. It's interesting. We talked earlier about the Marlins making all those trades, and Yelich was one of the guys who got traded, and he's a notable name. But hey, unsung hero, yeah, that seems to fit the bill because even though he is a star in the game, you don't think of him as a star. Right. You know what I mean? Which, speaking of, I'll go to my pick for.
Hold that thought for a sec. It's funny that you mentioned the Marlins, and it's kind of funny that Yelich is my pick. I was tempted to say Brian Anderson from the Marlins.
I was considering him for Rookie of the Year, yeah.
But then again, I just thought Juan Soto, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of heads or tails, pick one.
Mm-hmm. All right, so my unsung hero in the National League is on the Cincinnati Reds, third baseman Eugenio Suarez. I hope I'm saying that first name right because I feel like I always butcher it. But
you're not alone. You're not alone.
But I mean, whether you could say his first name or not, you can't deny the fact that dude's been hitting at a really good clip this year. 312 batting average, 19 homers, 71 RBI, 3.6 wins above replacement. He has been
all of this after a stint on the DL. He didn't start the year healthy.
Right, yeah, and he's been one of the most consistent, if not probably the most consistent hitter this year. I mean, obviously you got guys like Mike Trout, who I think he's just inhuman, but
yeah, it's safe to say.
But I mean, Suarez has been hitting at a pretty consistent clip for a Reds team that, ironically enough, since Brian Price left and Jim Riggleman's taken over, the Reds, even though, I mean, let's face it, we know they're not making the playoffs, haven't been bad since Jim Riggleman took over.
Not at all.
So, I mean,
and they have Matt Harvey.
Yeah. But I mean, thinking on the offensive side, I mean, you've got guys like Scooter Gennett who could have easily been in this slot too because he's been having a monster year. You've got Joey Votto, one of the most interesting men both on and off the field, who's just a machine.
My man.
If you can add Eugenio Suarez to that mix, hey, maybe the Reds won't be that far off either. I mean, it's been a while since the Reds have really done anything. I think 2011 was the last time they were in the postseason. Because I know that was when Roy Halladay. 2010. 2010. That's right.
2013 was the last time they were in the playoffs.
That's right.
They made it to the NL wild card game, and that was when Johnny. No, was it Johnny Cueto? Yeah, it was when the fans got to Johnny Cueto, and when they threw the ball back to him, like he was so rattled that he couldn't even keep it in his hand. On the next pitch, Russell Martin homered.
Right. But yeah. So Eugenio Suarez hitting at a very consistent clip, and yes, I am a proud fantasy owner of him. So I'm really hoping that he stays this consistent in the second half. So he's been a very nice piece.
Fair enough. As far as the American League is concerned, I'm sticking with outfielders here. I talked about how I didn't think J.A. Happ was deserving of an all-star appearance, which, I mean, his ERA is over a 4. His last couple of starts have been really, really bad. But I understand every team needs one player, which I hate that rule, but it is what it is. But I look at a guy like Eddie Rosario, and I honestly see future MVP. I mean, this guy's done a lot this season, without a doubt. He's hitting over 300. He's got power. He's one of the bright spots in that Twins lineup. And because the Twins have gone on their little rough stretch, making the playoffs last year, coming close in 2015, terrible in 2016, making to the playoffs 2017, they're back in 2018 in the hole. He has been that one guy that you can look at and be like, you know what? Twins aren't all that bad.
Well, one of the one guys, because what's his face?
Eddie Escobar?
Yes, he's been doing well too.
Yeah, I agree.
But no, it's not a bad pick. And I mean, let's face it, we all know how good of a second half team the Twins are anyway. So
this is true. Watch that AL wild card race.
Yeah. Don't count Minnesota out yet.
Yeah, don't.
Your power hitting third baseman is in single A still, I believe, and your once speedy, one of the best hitters in baseball at one point last year, center fielder, is currently slumming it in AAA. He was just at Coca-Cola Park recently, a couple weeks ago.
That guy, I know he's still very young, but that guy's he's got to be one of the biggest busts.
Byron Buxton or Miguel Sano?
Buxton.
Yeah, I mean, which is a shame because he's almost just as good as like a Billy Hamilton in center field defensively.
Oh, defensively, he's off the
And
charts good.
oh yeah, and obviously he's fast too.
Right. But
So-
but the speed is kind of the issue because he keeps getting hurt. So
Yeah, so
can't blame him for being fast though.
yeah. So all right. My unsung hero, I'm going to one of the it's a stadium that's definitely one of the bottom 2 stadiums, but don't worry, they're finally gonna get a new stadium. I'm going to Tampa Bay. And
I think I know who you're going to go with.
No.
Wilson Ramos.
No.
Oh.
Get the fat cats out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going with Matt Duffy.
That's a good pick.
317 batting average, 2 wins above replacement. Yeah, only 4 homers and 27 RBI, but this is a guy who can play.
You don't always need the home run to be good.
Oh yeah, this is a guy who can go pretty much anywhere in the infield and help your cause. So, I mean, if a team needs a utility guy or someone to hold down a second base or a third base if someone's hurt, Matt Duffy in Tampa might not be a terrible option to go. Oh, dude, guy knows how to get on base. He's okay defensively. And, I mean, have you seen pictures of him holding his cat? Come on, that cat's huge.
He wins based off of the cat.
That was all they talked about with him a couple years ago in San Francisco. His cat's massive.
Yeah, good pick. I've liked him. You know, he's obviously dealt with injuries, but you know, he's found a good home in Tampa. Clearly,
yeah,
doing well. Good on him. Got 4 more. Which one do I want to do?
Do you want to do managers now?
Yeah, let's do managers now.
How about I start for this?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go AL or NL?
Go NL, because I want to hear yours first and then see if I regret it. See if I regret my pick.
Let's see. Where is it? Wait. Hold on 1 second.
All right. While we're waiting for him to get back. Never mind. He's back.
All right. Are you ready?
Technical difficulties. Yes, I'm ready.
It's time for me to put my homer cap on.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that's not who I was going to go with, but all right.
I know I'm shocking a lot of people probably.
None.
No, based on the criticism he's gotten, but I'm going Gabe Kapler. I know he's not a perfect manager. I know he could probably manage the bullpen a little better.
Just kidding.
I know. I mean, obviously, it's not a good look when you're the third game you've ever managed. You try to call in a pitcher from the bullpen who wasn't even warming up. I know it's not a good look.
I mean, to be fair, the Mets batted out of order this year, so
yes, that did happen. But guess what? This Phillies team is young and hungry.
They're playing like it.
Yeah, they've got a good mix of guys in that room right now. Guys stepping up out of nowhere. Zach Eflin came up from AAA and had a stellar month of June, going 5-0 with a sub-2 ERA.
Might be comeback player of the year.
I'm not saying that's 100% on Gabe Kapler, but Gabe Kapler provides such a loose atmosphere for these guys. Ever since his opening press conference, he's been so calm, cool, and collective, even when situations have been ugly. And there have been some ugly situations so that the Phillies have hit, but he's met every one of them head on. He got booed when he came out opening day for introductions, but he took it in stride. He could have easily gone to his turtle or just said, like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done that. He goes, no, hey, he goes, they can voice their opinion, but guess what? Even though there are still some people who are quick to turn on him, Gabe Kapler's doing a pretty damn good job of Philadelphia, who, oh, by the way, don't look now, but is in first place in the NL East.
Can you not remind me?
I'm not saying it to be like a jerk to you. I'm just saying because, like, I was expecting them to be better, but, I mean, I don't know if I was expecting them to be up in first place in the All-Star break, you know?
Oh, I definitely wasn't.
But, I mean, like I said, man, they're playing like a young, hungry team. And if they can make that subtle tweak or two at the trade deadline, get maybe a key piece to help the bullpen or something like that.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't get Machado, but hell, maybe you take a chance on Zach Britton.
Why not?
Or a Brad Hand from San Diego.
Or even if you don't want to go Zach Britton, you go Brad Brock. You know,
yeah,
an option.
Yeah, you don't have to go like someone who's like a light.
Jerry's Familia, please take him off our team now.
There were rumors that the Phillies were interested in Familia.
Take him.
So, but
don't even give us anything.
So, but I mean, that's my rant. Gabe has my support, man. He's kept this group loose, and if they continue to follow his vision of #BeBold, it could be a fun summer in the city of Philadelphia.
You know, for me, I was nervous that, well, going to my pick, I was nervous that this team, after all their success last year, wasn't going to follow it up. And then they start the year and they lose their ace and they lose their franchise player. And you deal with a logjam of players that have a lot of talent, but sometimes too much of a good thing could be a bad thing. And then you get the Milwaukee Brewers. And you get a team that's right in the thick of things. They're in second place in a division. And yet they have more wins than the other division leaders. They're 55 and I think 42, something like that. I don't know. I'm going to go with Craig Counsell here. I think I went with him last year, or it might have either been him or Torey Lovello. Sorry.
We can never say his name right.
Lovello, whatever his name is.
I think it's Lavulo.
The manager of the Diamondbacks. Yeah, I'm going to go with Craig Counsell because, you know, he's dealt with some injuries. He's dealt with some guys that have underproduced. He's managed his lineups pretty well. He's managed his pitching staff pretty well. You know, he's got a lot of guys in the bullpen that he can work with. You know, he's done well, and they're right in the thick of things with the Chicago Cubs. They have the same amount of wins as the Cubs do. You know, they're obviously a couple games back because more losses. Like I said, you're in second place in a division with the Cubs, team like the Cardinals too, even though they've fallen off. And you have more wins than the other division leaders. I think that says something about managing, just in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, and the way you were setting up that introduction, I almost thought you were going to go Dave Roberts of the Dodgers. Which
no. I think I went with him 2 years ago, but
I mean, he's also not a bad option.
Oh no, not at all.
But yeah, I mean,
because him too. I mean, you know, you lost Turner, lost Seager, lost Kershaw, and yet here the Dodgers are probably playing better than they have all season.
Hello, Max Muncy.
Correct.
and hello, Manny Machado.
And hello, resurgence of Matt Kemp.
Remember a couple years ago when the Atlanta GM called him fat?
How's he look now, Atlanta GM? All-star and potential MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Playing like his 2011 self.
Oh, you mean the year that he should have won MVP?
Yeah, but we don't talk about that.
Oh, you mean because Ryan Braun was on the Juicy Juice?
Correct.
Or Dino, whatever his name is, who he got fired from FedEx.
Poor guy. By God.
But no, that Craig Counsell is a very good pick. And I mean, hell, you could even go Joe Madden too.
Yeah, I
mean,
it's a tough decision.
I mean, let's face it. Like, if like you were told today, like you're going to be in that Major League Baseball player for one day, who do you want to be your manager? It's probably going to be Joe Madden.
Oh, absolutely.
Just because not only is he a good manager in baseball, but he's just a loose guy who has fun. Like, based on the fact that like, all the road trips he would do with the Rays, he knows how the shirts in Chicago that say "Try not to suck." Like, you could tell he's a guy who doesn't take himself too seriously, and he keeps his clubhouse loose, and that's why guys like Anthony Rizzo, guys like Chris Bryant, and all that in Chicago love playing for Joe Madden because he keeps that clubhouse loose, and guess what? They keep winning ball games.
Right. And, you know, like mentioned earlier with injuries, they lost Chris Bryant.
Yeah.
And Anthony Rizzo has not played well.
No, he's not.
He has not looked good on the field. He's not really hitting well for average. I mean, he's still hitting the home runs, but and you also lost Jake Arrieta to free agency.
Mm-hmm.
Not good. They've also had an inexperienced closer that they've had to work with. Obviously, Brandon Morrow is paying off. But they've had challenges too, and the fact that Joe Madden has been able to overcome that definitely deserves recognition.
Right. Yep.
But
Should I go AL now?
Yes.
So we talked a little earlier about the swinging A's. I'm going Bob Melvin. Just because
I've never thought I'd hear that.
Same. But I mean, hey, I know it wasn't one of our categories, but how about the Oakland Athletics being the surprise of the baseball season right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 8 games back of the Astros in the division, but they're only 3 back of the Mariners for second. So they're nipping on the heels for a wild card spot.
And the Mariners haven't really been playing that well lately.
Yeah, so if the A's can continue their progress in the second half, they could potentially be looking to add a piece or two come the trade deadline. So,
hey, we talked about this off camera, but I thought that they would be a dark horse team for Manny Machado. Well, like we talked about also, they don't really have the prospects to get him.
Yeah, so and it's kind of an anomaly year. But you've got the two Matts, Matt Chapman and Matt Olson at the corners who it seems like all they can do is hit home runs, which, hey, that's good.
And then you have the all-star that seems to be getting better with age, and that's Jed Lowry.
Yeah. And when he's healthy and swinging well, too, Chris with a K Davis.
Good God.
Yeah. Well, it certainly ain't Chris with a C Davis.
No, not at all. How's that guy still have a job?
They gave him a boatload of money and they're stuck.
I think there was a stat that I saw on him. There was an article saying how he could be the worst, historically the worst player in baseball. I don't remember what the stat itself was. Maybe I'll go look up that article and put it in the description box. But
it's just like all those years back when Adam Dunn was with the White Sox and he was DH and his average was barely over 100.
He had the most bizarre career ever.
Big donkey, baby.
Yeah.
I once saw him crush a ball at Citizens Bank Park, just unloaded on it. I think it went to the second to last row in the second deck. And as soon as me contact, you're like, yeah, that's gone. It was just yeah, he struck out a lot, but when he connected.
Absolutely. Sticking with the same division, I'm going to go with Scott Service. The Mariners are far exceeding my expectations. I expected them to be good. I was not expecting them to be this good, especially heading into the All-Star break.
Especially losing Robbie Cano.
They lost D. Gordon. They once again are getting a terrible season out of Felix Hernandez. Now they just lost James Paxton to the DL. Maybe it was just a precautionary move. But still, losing all these guys, and yet you're still right in line with the Astros. You've obviously fallen back a little bit. You're still 5 back, I think they are.
Yes.
And leading one of the wild card spots, that's something to be proud of, especially considering all the challenges they've been facing. So, Scott Service is my pick.
Not a bad pick.
I guess that kind of will transition into our teams of the year. Even though Scott Service is my AL manager of the year, I think it's obvious who the AL team is.
Boston?
Correct.
Come on. Let's go up and look at this record if I can click on the right tab. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah, 68-30, best record in baseball.
With, the best closer in the AL, best starter potentially in the AL.
pretty much identical records, both home and away.
JD Martinez.
They've won 9 of their last 10 ball games.
Yeah. Playing in the same division as the Yankees and still doing a lot better than them. Well, not a lot better, but doing better than them.
Yeah, man. I mean, Alex Cora looking pretty good in his first year managing, you know?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not really tough to manage when you have that much talent.
Yeah. Let's see. Where am I going to bat JD and Mookie today? Oh, right there and there. Oh, look, 2 bombs. Okay.
Oh, look, there's Xander Bogaerts. Let's squeeze him in too.
Oh, look, walk-off grand slam.
Rafi Devers, come over here. I know he's on the DL, but come here anyway. I'll put you in too.
Oh, hey, look, Dustin Pedroia's back. He could be the grizzled old vet.
Oh my god. He could be what David Ortiz was, even though David Ortiz produced in his last season really, really well.
You know, Big Papi.
Big Papi.
Remember when everybody thought that he was just going to be like, LOL, JK, I'm not retiring?
Yes, I was one of those people. I was like, there's no way, because there hasn't been much coverage of this. I'm like, no, he's trolling us. There's no way. Like, especially
after he got all those gifts and everything too.
Especially considering how poorly they played in that ALDS. I'm like, no, there's no way he's going to go out like that. And lo and behold, he did. Good for him for keeping his promise. Yeah. NL?
We kind of talked about this, but originally I had Brewers, but like,
I have
really pick one, you know?
I mean, Phillies, Braves, Brewers,
Cubs, Dodgers,
Diamondbacks.
Yeah. The NL's pretty even right now.
On the run they're on, you can make a small argument for the Rockies.
Yeah.
Small, very small. I'm going with Brewers.
Again, pick one. I mean,
everyone's a winner.
The Dodgers just traded for Manny Machado, so I mean that could automatically make them the best team, you know?
Yeah, I mean they've won the trade deadline so far.
It's a pretty big one move, you know?
Yeah. And honestly, like there aren't really a lot of big names out there that are going to get traded, so
right. The Nationals aren't going to trade Bryce Harper.
No, not at all. It will probably be the biggest move without a doubt. Unless the Mets trade DeGrom, which I don't think is happening.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen either, but you never know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so for best team in the NL, really take your pick of the top team or two in each division right now. They're all looking pretty similar.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I went with the Brewers because, again, like I had a lot of concerns going into this year, and they've exceeded my expectations. So for that, I put them there.
Yeah.
You know, I knew the Cubs were going to be in it. I knew the Dodgers would struggle, but then come out of it. Diamondbacks. Them, too, I was a little bit concerned about going into the season because, you know, you lose JD Martinez. Where do you really go from here? And they're pretty much in the same spot that they were last year, so that's good. So yeah, I'll go with Craig Counsell. You're just gonna say anyone.
Yeah, I could put it on my homer hat, but nah. I mean, again, like
Tyler has a 4-way tie for first place.
They're all dead even right now, man. That's why the NL's gonna be fun to watch in the second half.
Absolutely, especially that wild card race.
Yes.
I guess we'll go to our two big awards, excuse me. Starting with the Cy Young Award. And we talked about the American League and just how close this was. Because you could make an argument for a few guys.
Like 5 or 6 different guys.
You know, you look at guys like Sale. You look at guys, you know, the normal guys that are there. Chris Sale, obviously, is one of them. Who else? Hang on. Chris Sale, you can make an argument for Garrett Cole. You can make an argument for
Baby!
What? Oh.
I said, baby!
Damn it. You can make an argument for Justin Verlander.
Yeah.
Make an argument, hell.
James Paxton.
For Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, man.
But I went with Chris Sale.
It's not a bad pick.
I mean, again, it's kind of like you with the AL Team of the Year. I mean, NL Team of the Year. Sorry, kind of take your pick. I went with Sale. Just I thought that his numbers obviously are very impressive. Leads the majors in strikeouts. He's got a 184 opposing average, a WHIP under 1, a 2.23 ERA. In 129 innings, he struck out 188 batters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looked pretty filthy while doing it. So,
absolutely.
Your pick?
I'm in the same division, but I'm going with the Yankees and Luis Severino.
That's actually a guy that I did not mention, and I'm surprised that you picked him.
I mean,
but not a bad pick, though.
Dude's 14-2 in 20 starts, 2.31 ERA, 128 innings pitched, 144 strikeouts.
And those writers love their wins.
No comment. A win above replacement rating near 5 at a 4.8. And so, like I told you, like I've been trying to watch as much like baseball as I can, but obviously working for a baseball team, it gets kind of hard. I was able to watch Luis Severino start. I wasn't at the stadium, but when he started in Philly against the Phillies, he was a man among boys. Like, he just had his A stuff that the Phillies just couldn't keep up to. Like, it was just, I mean, this kid is, how old is he? 20. It doesn't say his age on here. That's
Severino, I think, is 24.
Yeah. So this guy's my age, and he steps on a big league mound and makes a big league
24.
And makes a big league team like the Phillies look like they're kids swinging wildly in Little League. You know what I mean? This guy has great A stuff, and the Yankees are probably going to try to address pitching depth at the trade deadline,
as they should.
I've heard they're probably front runners for J-Hap, but I mean, they don't have to worry about fulfilling the need of an ace because
I was going to say, like,
Sevy's got that on lockdown.
Right. They have their ace. They just need other pieces.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Luis Severino is my AL Cy Young pick. But like we mentioned before, you could pick Justin Verlander. You could pick Garrett Cole. You could pick James Paxton. You could pick Trevor Bauer. List is endless right now. And
absolutely. And
that's scary for the NL.
I'm looking at some other guys, too. You can even make an argument for Blake Snell.
Yeah.
Guy who almost didn't make the All-Star team.
Yeah.
And he only made it because someone got hurt. NL Cy Young. Now, for me, there's three choices. DeGrom, Nola, Scherzer. I'm a fan. ERA always gets me. And I know I'm going to be a homer. Jacob DeGrom.
Do you have a hat that you're going to go get to?
I mean, it's a shame that this guy's 5-4. And it's also this is also a case where this guy is just too big for his team. Obviously, the Mets just suck, and yet every fifth day, I can always have a smile on my face, even if he's gonna lose or get a no decision. I know that this guy's gonna pitch 6, 7, 8 innings and be dominant while doing it. And this year, he's been dominant while doing it. Yes, he's 5-4, but DeGrom's ERA is a 1.68. His WHIP is under 1. He struck out 149 in 123 innings. He did that while actually having an elbow injury mid-season, and yet came back stronger. Like I said, it's just a shame that he plays for the Mets. Because if he was on another team, he'd be on a whole new level. But on the level he's at now, I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go with DeGrom.
That's fair.
Are you going to be a homer as well? Oh my God. That's it. Turning the camera off.
Remember how I told you before that Aaron Nola was one of the more underrated pitchers in baseball because, yeah, like when he'd be on the mound, he'd be good, but he'd have health issues. You just need to see him at his best when he's healthy. Guess what? You're seeing him at his best, and he's been healthy for every start this year. Aaron Nola has arrived in Major League Baseball as at least a top 10 pitcher, probably top 5 right now. Well, maybe not because of all the studs we just mentioned in the AL, but probably definitely top 5 in the NL, a 12-3 record. And even that, I mean, you talked about how obviously DeGrom's record isn't a fair justification because of his offense. There are some starts for Aaron Nola where he'll go out there and he'll keep the other day on Saturday, he helped the Marlins, I believe, to 2 runs. The Phillies lost 2-0, and Aaron Nola got hung with the loss. Not because he pitched poorly, because he didn't, but because for some reason his offense against the AAA Marlins of all teams basically decided to take the day off.
That's all right. The Marlins swept the Mets, so it's okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I am so happy that this guy has arrived, especially considering the Phillies signing Jake Arrieta in the offseason. Yeah, he's kind of came around, but while we talked earlier about Zach Eflin having a stellar month of June, Jake Arrieta had a terrible month of June. And I know part of that was due to the defense behind him. I get it.
Completely get it.
Like the most unearned runs in baseball at one point. I don't know if he still leads that category, but it's comforting to know that we have Aaron Nola as the constant ace right now. And if he could stay healthy throughout the entire year and really help lead the charge for the Phillies, I mean, we talked about how the Phillies are similar to the 2008 Phillies earlier. He's almost kind of looking like maybe even a little bit better, but a version of the 2008 Cole Hamels, who was able to push the Phillies and was able to win World Series MVP. Not saying the Phillies are going to go to the World Series or anything, but it doesn't hurt to have a young stud of an ace who is finally starting what looks like to realize his full potential. And if he can stay this way for a while, look out every 5th day at Citizens Bank Park.
Absolutely.
And what's great, too, is, sorry, this is my one last note, is
no problem.
He's kind of similar to DeGrom in the sense that, I mean, the difference between DeGrom and Syndergaard is the fact that Syndergaard has that overpowering stuff, whereas DeGrom will more pitch around guys. He'll still have a good fastball, all, but he'll be the more crafty of the two. Aaron Nola's the same way. He's not really going to overpower you and dominate you like a flamethrower.
He'll just go out there and be himself.
Mm-hmm. He'll pitch around. If he gets in tough situations, he'll get it himself out of them, and he trusts his stuff, and he trusts his team and his manager too. So, yeah, hats off to my boy Aaron Nola.
My God.
I actually have a shirt too, but I don't think it's clean. That says Nola on the back, so you're lucky.
Fair enough. Before we get to our last award, I haven't done this in a while, so I got to remember how the routine goes. If you like this video, leave a like. If you don't like it, leave a dislike. Leave a comment. Subscribe to this channel. Check out all the other great content, both sports and wrestling related. There probably won't be a lot of new content going forward because I have 2 jobs and I'm trying to balance both of them. This is probably the only time I'm going to have to do a video, so doing a video. So yeah, check out the other episodes of the Unlimited podcast as well, featuring Tyler and others.
But mostly Tyler.
But mostly Tyler, because, we don't need Walter or any of those guys. Yeah. Now we get to the MVPs. And we talked about the American League. Or, sorry. I think the National League the tougher one? I forgot.
Both were kind of tough. Yeah, I mean, I think the American League was easier.
I think the AL is easy. I think the NL was really difficult for me.
Well, let's start with the AL then.
Okay.
You have a certain outfielder from Boston.
Yeah.
Which one?
His name's Mookie Betts.
Yeah, I have that. I have that guy too.
Just a complete all-around force. both offensively, defensively. He's got speed. He's got power. He's just the big, other than JD Martinez, easily the biggest threat in that lineup. And he's just fired on all cylinders with 23 homers. He's stolen 18 bases. He's hitting 359 while missing time on the disabled list. On base 448. He still managed to score 79 runs, drive in 51. He has more walks than strikeouts. What else can you say about him?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. And obviously, the debate of being on a competitive team comes into play here because, let's face it, as long as he's breathing, Mike Trout's going to be in the running for MVP.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, he could be, like, we could be watching one of the best players of all time in Mike Trout, who showed us yet again at the All-Star game last night why he's such a force. When how great was that, too, when Bryce Harper was getting interviewed and Mike Trout connects on his home run and you just hear Harper go, "Oh, yeah, that's gone."
Yeah.
So that was a cool moment because it was cool to hear how much respect that Bryce Harper has for Mike Trout, because those two get compared a lot for obvious reasons. But
whether I like it or not.
Yeah, but I mean, so let's face it. Yeah, Mike Trout's going to be a perennial MVP candidate again, probably until he's done playing baseball. But right now, it's Mookie's award to lose. I mean, again, that one stat you said bears repeating: a 359 batting average
in only 78 games.
It's July 18th. Like, if you were doing that, I'd accuse you of playing on rookie mode in MLB The Show. You know what I mean? Like, it's remarkable that you're hitting over 350 like that. And again, and not only is he good offensively, defensively too. He just mans his post.
In a tough outfield to play. Boston's not an easy outfield.
No. So what more do you need for an MVP right now? Mookie Betts is just top of the line, grade A, 100%.
And granted, Trout will be in the discussion. No question about it. Every year since he's debuted, he's been in the top 4 in MVP voting, including last year where he missed half the season. He's going to be in the discussion.
Yeah.
In this case, it's got to be Mookie Betts. It has to be. When you factor in his play, the fact that the team is winning is a plus, even though that doesn't really speak as a whole as what an MVP should be. But it's got to be him. When I went to the National League.
Yeah, this one was kind of tough.
Yeah.
I picked someone for this one. I'm not going to just pawn it off, but
No, I did as well. Kind of looking at all the options, they were really similar to each other.
Yeah, it's similar to the teams right now, man. Each team has like people that could be considered MVP worthy.
Yeah.
Although the Phillies don't really right now, but that's okay because they're still winning ball games and playing well. So
exactly, you don't need a bona fide MVP to win games.
Abdul was looking like it at one point, but he kind of cooled down a little. It's okay. It's all good. So, do you want me to go first?
I'm honestly reconsidering, but go ahead.
Well, my MVP is in the NL East.
We might have the same one.
I'm going with Freddie Freeman.
Oh my God. Yo, we have the same one.
I mean, and what's funny is like this has really been Freddie Freeman throughout his whole career. Like he came in, he had like a lot of hype, like around, like similar to Jason Hayward as he should, but he's never been like, obviously he's always been a very good player, but he's never been like, even like an Anthony Rizzo where like, oh yeah, you see like, oh wow, he hits the massive bombs and like whatever. Freddie Freeman just kind of does what he does.
He just hits.
Yeah, he just shows up, he hits, like,
yeah.
And it's not that he's like quiet in the media. Like he'll give interviews. He's a great interview. Like he's always got a smile on his face. Finally got the nod as the starting NL first baseman last night at the All-Star game. And when you look at this, 315 batting average, 16 home runs, 61 RBI, he's stolen 6 bags, a WAR of almost 4 on the dot. Yeah, that sounds like an MVP to me.
315 average, 405 OBP, slugging over 500, OPS almost 1,000.
Especially in the NL right now, which is kind of just a quagmire of like, yeah, there's good players, but it's hard to tell, you know?
I mean, honestly, there was someone in one of the groups I'm in that said, like, does the NL even need an all-star, or not an all-star, a World Series representative, because it's pretty much the AL and that's it. But there are a lot of good teams in the NL, and
good players too.
And Freddie Freeman is definitely up there. I stand by my statement from last year, saying that if he did not get hurt, he would have won the MVP last year, and he very well could win it this year.
Yeah, and I mean, like, and what's funny about like NL MVP consideration too, like one guy who you could consider to be a candidate for NL MVP. Hold on, let me find the right
wait.
tab.
Same team?
No, well, him, yes, Nick Markakis, but also, oh yes, Scooter Gennett with 16 home runs, leading the NL in batting average, 326, 63 RPI, with 92 games on his belt, 521 slugging percentage. Yeah, that guy could be considered close to MVP worthy. I mean, again, it depends on if you think the guy should be on a team that's in the hunt or not, but pretty good numbers. Like you kind of alluded to, Nick Markakis having a damn good year, which that guy's always been a consistent player, always been a doubles machine, but now finally like stepping out and really showing himself.
Hell, there's another player on the Braves that could be considered. Ozzie Albies.
All the bees.
All the bees. I mean, Albies, 281, 20 homers, scored 74 runs. I believe he leads the NL. Yeah, he leads the National League in runs.
Mm-hmm.
He leads the National League in doubles. He is 6th in the National League in home runs. His walk numbers aren't really there. He only has 19. But he has enough positives to overshadow his negatives. So that he could be also a potential candidate. But yeah, I just think Freddie Freeman probably maybe the best all-around first baseman in baseball.
He's up there.
Not named Paul Goldschmidt.
Yeah.
Or Joey Votto.
Yeah, but like you said, he's up there.
Definitely. I was not expecting that to be your pick.
Again, there were other worthy candidates, but I just landed on Freddie, man. He's always been a good first baseman.
Oh, absolutely. He could make the Braves alone. No, it doesn't even need anyone else. Just him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's it.
Yay!
Want to do predictions for the rest of the way? Or
oh God. I don't know, because I mean, like, there's
a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
let me go over the obvious ones. Cleveland's winning the AL Central.
No. Somebody has to win the AL Central.
AL West, I'll go Houston. AL East, I hope nobody from my job's watching this. I'll go Boston Red Sox. NL East.
Do it. Do it.
No. Oh, no. The Mets. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm going to go and say the Phillies.
Yeah. It's going to be a tight race, man.
I'm going to surprise everyone here. Well, not really, because they're my team of the year. NL Central, I'm going to go with the Brewers.
I wouldn't hate it, man. I mean, I like the Cubs. Like I mentioned, I like Joe Madden, and I hope Anthony Rizzo rights the ship. But, I mean, I wouldn't hate if Milwaukee goes on a tear.
And then for the NL West, I'll also go with a different pick, and I'll go with the Diamondbacks.
Really?
Yeah. Even after the Dodgers just got Machado, there's something about the Diamondbacks that says, you know what, they're going to win the division. I don't know.
I thought that about them in the playoffs last year, though, and things did not go my way.
Didn't they get swept?
Yeah, and I predicted them to go to the World Series.
I think I did too.
Yeah, because I convinced you.
Yeah, you did. Wild card for the AL, obviously the Yankees. And
Yankees Mariners?
probably Yankees Mariners. I think Oakland's going to fall off. NL Cubs Dodgers. Braves don't make the playoffs.
They could sneak in there though. You never know. Because again,
absolutely.
I'm really excited for that NL East race in the second half.
As am I. And you never know with the Nationals either. You never.
Oh, don't say that.
I know, but they're still out there. Even they're not playing well, but they're still there.
Yeah, and I mean, you never know. They can get Strasburg back, and they could just.
They're getting him back Friday.
Yeah, they can get Strasburg back. He could return the form. Daniel Murphy could return the form, and then. Oh, could you imagine if it's a 3-horse race in the NL East?
It's going to be a fun one.
Remember when the NL East a couple years ago was the worst division in baseball?
Not anymore.
No.
That title belongs to the AL Central.
Loud and proud, baby.
AL Central, close second. Who would you
second?
Who would you put as your close second?
Define close.
Okay, who would you put as your second? AL East? Because other than the two, you don't really have many others.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Baltimore is Baltimore. The Rays show glimpses, but they're nothing special. And then Toronto's just kind of there.
Yeah, and Toronto's going to probably trade away Hap, lose Josh Donaldson to free agency. Actually, I don't know about that since JD's been hurt so much this year. I'm almost wondering if he might do a Jose Bautista and maybe just sign a 1-year deal there.
Because I wonder if his stock is going to drop off because of that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, because, I mean, even when he's been healthy, he hasn't played great this year.
Not at all. He's looked terrible at third base.
And maybe that's because he's not healthy, but even so, if I'm a team in free agency, I'm pumping the brakes on that.
Absolutely. That's going to be a fun podcast at the end of the season because there are a lot of big-name free agents.
Yeah.
So, day after the World Series ends, be ready.
Winter meetings, baby.
We're coming for you.
Oh, my God.
But
we still have half a season of baseball to play, so.
This is true, and we will be back at the end of the season to talk about, obviously, the full season and the playoffs. Then we'll be back after the playoffs. Blah, 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 blah. You got anything to add, or we good?
I mean, it seems like everything. I mean, the only question I was going to have for you is, would you think the Mets were going to pull a trigger on a big trade?
I really don't see it. I know a lot of fans see it. I don't.
I see the pros and cons of it.
I do see the pros and cons in it. I think trading Syndergaard would probably be the better move because a lot of teams go for the flashy guy, and he is the flashy guy, even though he's been hurt a lot. So I
was gonna say, but DeGrom might get you the better pull back.
This is true.
And I mean, hell, you could trade them both and just start over completely.
Which is a very Metsian thing to do.
Metsian thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be a good way to recharge your system.
This is true.
And then Tim Tebow can start for you on opening day next year.
I'm going to kill you.
He's a double-A all-star, baby.
Good for him. I covered him in single A. Yeah. Not good. Could be the next big quarterback in the XFL.
No comment.
But this has been the Unlimited Podcast. I will leave you on that note. This has been the Unlimited Podcast. Thanks, Tyler, for joining as always. Like I said, go check out the other content. Maybe I'll be back soon. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, see you guys later. Thanks.